4 years ago, I posted a video on YouTube of my no wiring DCC 3-rail Hornby 00 layout. Now I've made an N-gauge version and I'd like to show it to you. It consists of a single track loop, a country branch line, a main line terminus, another branch line, a goods siding and a return loop. Now I control this layout with a Loco multi-mouse controller, DCC controller. It's very easy to switch between operating an accessory, for example this colour light signal, that's red, green, go to a Loco and I can select the blue diesel or the diesel multiple unit or a tank engine, and I can easily switch back to the tank engine's siding and turn the point to turned, and I set the tank engine rolling and let its goods train roll out onto the main line. And I'll put it back in its siding to clear the main line for the express train, which is going to come along any minute. First I'll set the points correctly. Point number 1 has to be straight, point number 5 has to be straight, point number 7 has to be turned. Now I'll set the colour light signal to green. Now I'll select the blue diesel and she can roll out of the mainline station. I'll turn the colour light signal to red as soon as it's passed, and now the diesel can get up to speed. The colour light signal there turns to red automatically, but that's another story. The train rolls into the station and I'll stop the Loco just over the uncoupler, thus. Now I'm going to set the uncoupler up, which means I select accessory number 9, I set the uncoupler up, and without altering anything else the Loco will roll forwards. I set the uncoupler down immediately so as not to overheat the uncoupler coil. That's a slip point, so I don't have to change it. And the Loco rolls around its train. These 2 points are slip points as well, so I don't change that. There we go, it changed it because Fleischmann Locos can run over their points. Back onto the train. And the Fleischmann couplings work very well indeed, and the train is ready to leave. My mission is to show you how you can reduce the wiring on your layout to virtually zero. On this layout the only wiring I've got is the DCC power feeds. The accessories are all wired directly to the track. There are 8 points, 3 uncouplers and 4 colour signals, one of which is automatic. Each of those accessories has a DCC decoder built into it, and in the case of the uncouplers and the points, the DCC decoder is actually embedded in the cork base under the point. Now I'm going to show you the DCC decoder which I've installed underneath one of the Fleischmann piccolo points, and I've taken it off the layout so we can look at it. And there it is. Here's the decoder PCB connected to the track, and this is the DCC power and the DCC pulses. The PIC microprocessor decodes the DCC pulses and operates the point via two little transistors, left turn and right turn. And the beauty of the Fleischmann points is that they only draw half an amp, so it's okay to have these tiny transistors. And here is a signal. It's a two-aspect color signal, and this is the decoder. There is the PIC microprocessor, which decodes the DCC signals, and you can see that it's simply wired to the track via a couple of wires. Now let's play trains and set the diesel multiple unit rolling. I'll set the points for it. Number 4 turned, number 6 straight, and away we go. Okay, the passengers can get out, new passengers can get on. I'm going to send the diesel multiple unit into the other branch line, and now I'm going to set some points. Point 6 will be turned, point 8 will be turned, and signal number 14 will be set to green. And now the train can leave. I manually set signal 14 to red after the train has departed. And she arrives at the other branch terminus. I'd like to show you how I program a DCC decoder. I use the Loco multi-mouse to provide the programming steps, but first I have to isolate the point and connect it to the DCC power, like this. There we are, it's isolated and connected to DCC. You will have seen that there's no room on the PCB for a program setting switch, so I'll show you how I set the decoder into its programming mode. I send address 99. The point moves twice to acknowledge that. And now I send the address that I want, in this case address number 3, and the point acknowledges it. And now the point operates with address number 3. That's the secret of programming my DCC decoders. Incidentally, I designed the circuit and the PCB, and I had the PCB made in China, and I wrote the software which goes into the PIC. Most of the signals are manually operated, such as this one. But this signal is a prototype automatic signal. Which can also be operated manually, thus. It also turns to red if I set the point against it, like that. Every Loco on a DCC layout needs the installation of a DCC decoder. This is how I've done it on this Fleischmann diesel. The motor connections are carried on these tracks on this PCB, and these have to be cut. so that the power from the track comes directly to the DCC decoder here. So we've got red and black have come from the track, and then the decoder drives the motor via the orange and grey wires. The decoder is a lens silver mini which fits very neatly inside the Fleischmann diesel. In addition, I've added some keep alive capacitors, in this case 880 microfarads made up of 4 220 microfarad capacitors, and that does improve the running over the points. A feature of this circuit is the reverse loop, and you'll notice that if we trace the reverse loop round, there'd be a short circuit at this point, but there's an automatic polarity reversal circuit between these two isolated rails. This is the polarity reversing circuit which is underneath this track. It works by detecting the short circuit, which happens when the polarity is wrong, and instantly, less than a millisecond, reversing the polarity to be correct. Let's look under the baseboard. We'll see only the DCC power connections, no other wiring. Here comes the DMU. I'm going to roll her into the station. For a small layout of this size, there's no need to have a layout wiring bus such as the Merg C-bus. It's much more simple to have a no wiring system where each point and each signal has its own decoder, so that you have no wiring at all. For example, when I added this branch line, all I had to do was to take out a half rail and insert the point, and I'm ready to go. Details of all the components can be found in the Merg journals and the Merg knowledge base.